He's got a handful of goals so far this season, but it'll be Syracuse with the opening kick. The head official tonight, Carl Coomer, sounds the whistle, and we are underway from SU Soccer Stadium.
It will be important tonight for both these teams to find their footing and try and establish themselves early.
Thorson with an early cross. Gunley got it away. And Pitt establishing themselves early on in the attacking third.
Well, one of the things that you, as a coach, you look for when you come out is to make sure your guys are plugged in, they're ready to go. And you know, these first couple minutes are always a little testy.
Syracuse has had a little bit of a knack for scoring early. Lorenzo Baselli did twice in the first 13 minutes to get a brace against Providence. Nicholas Kalukian opened the scoring a couple minutes in on the road against Wake Forest. And the Orange have got the ball now with Gavin Wigg.
Syracuse will try to establish themselves early here, try and get their stamp on the game. Pitt's a team that likes to be on the ball. Right now, Syracuse with the ball really kind of plays into taking Pitt out of their game. The more they can keep it, Syracuse, the less Pitt can have it.
The first foul called in favor of Syracuse. Nicholas Kalukian working for it. One of the many transfers brought in by Coach Ian McIntyre and his staff. Season number 14 in charge of the Orange.
He's done a great job of putting together a bunch of guys who probably didn't know much about one another maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, but now are starting to gel. Pitt is in a similar situation, but getting players to be able to become familiar with one another is first on the list when you bring in a bunch of transfers.
Sam Cowell with the hold-up play, one touch. Pitt just trying to clear their lines a little bit, but for the Panthers, it is a much more measured style of play out of the back, looking to boss possession. That's something that Coach Vidovich talked to us about earlier this week. As the pass for Torre caught out the forward a little bit. Here's Gabriel McKenna. And asked a little bit too much of Kalukian on the pass.
Here's a theme you may see tonight where Pitt likes to be on the ball. They like to get into a rhythm of play, start knocking the ball around. Syracuse is going to push right up on them, try and put them under pressure in their own half of the field.
Cabral Carter, just a sophomore, in between the sticks for Pitt. We spoke to Coach Vidovich, he said, well, for Carter, it's got to be about starting attacks from the back, distribution. That's how goalkeepers work. And he did start a good attack, but it was stopped by the offside flag.
And with Pitt, the way Pitt plays, you have to be good with your feet to play at the back of a Pitt team.
There is Coach Jay Vidovich, season number 8 in charge, somebody who has been around the college soccer game for quite a long time, including 2 college cup trips in the past 3 seasons.
Coach Vidovich is one of the all-time good guys in this game, very highly thought of throughout the country, not just for his soccer acumen, but also just as an all-around good guy and someone who puts the time in, and actually his teams show that with the way they play.
Edwards tried to apply the pressure high up for Syracuse. He went down, and another foul is called. Lorenzo Baselli hitting the dirt.
Baselli is very good in terms of getting into tackles. I think he maybe sells that one a little bit, but it gets him a free kick. You know, Baselli is going to need to make his mark in this game. And even if it's something like this, drawing fouls is going to create a dangerous situation for the Orange.
Mateo Levesque standing over it. The French native, the UConn transfer. Got 2 assists this season. Scored against Louisville in ACC play for Syracuse.
Pitt will have to be on point here as far as marking players in the box. Levesque very good with the service.
Was a good service, headed away though. And a chance for a counterattack. Torre's got some speed, and he's got a lane too. Abdoulaye Torre onto his right foot, away from Singelman. Spreads the wealth to the far side. Smith setting his feet, a pass right in front, and slotted home.
A great finish. Pitt showing some nerve, coming right out, connecting some passes.
It's Abdoulaye Touré, the man who started the attack, getting to put away the end product as well.
Thorson does a good job of not rushing to maybe try and get a shot off, but just picking out a pass, and Touré passing it into the back of the net. Great finish, a great start for Pitt. Right out of the box within the first 5 minutes of the game.
It was the exact opposite of how Pitt started the scoring in a 1-1 tie against Penn State. Touré went down the wing, put it into the middle to Thorson, and this time Thorson plays the extra pass.
University of Pittsburgh goal scored by number 7, Abdoulaye Touré.
What is Coach McIntyre thinking right now?
By number 9,
well, I'm sure at this point it's not obviously what you want, the way you want to start out a game, but you know it's going to wake them up, and they're going to have to now assert themselves. They're going to have to you know play with a little bit of urgency. Plenty of time left to go in the game, but you know Syracuse has really got to. There's no margin for error when you give up a goal this early, because another one puts you in a big hole.
And already Coach McIntyre barking out orders to Noah Singelman, who is only starting his second game this season. Of course, was a key part of that 2022 national championship winning team for the Orange. Logged a career high 1,800 minutes, playing every minute of the postseason.
This is what Syracuse does like to do. They like to push players into the half of the field of their opponent, put them under pressure as they try to play out, and either turn them over in their own half of the field.
Mateo Levesque left in a heap.
Yeah, he plays the ball and gets clipped a little bit after the ball leaves his feet.
There's been a couple fouls like that pretty early on, Dean. Were you expecting that when you saw these two teams line up?
Well, I think both teams are trying to get a feel for, you know, where the line is drawn as far as physical play goes.
Early cross scrambled away.
To your point, though, as the game wears on, you know, I think they both settle into knowing where the line is drawn, and you know, tackling the ball is an important part of the game, and you can't back out of tackles, but by the same token, you know, you don't want to pick up cards early in the game.
Syracuse concentrating some attacks down that far side channel early on. That's where Lorenzo Baselli is. Talked about him before this one got underway. 4 goals this season. Hasn't scored in a little bit, though. Thorson, nice turn to keep possession. Touré getting forward on the near side as well. Edwards giving chase and going in.
Edwards is tireless on that side of the field, getting up and down the flank. He works on both sides of the ball, but that's a requirement if you're going to play in the system that Syracuse plays. Wide players are expected to get 18 to 18.
It is a very high-tempo system from Coach McIntyre, but I'm a little bit surprised to see how high Pitt is pressing up as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, both teams, again, you know, it takes a little while to kind of see what the other team is trying to do. It is surprising maybe a bit to see Pitt moving up the field, but they like to be on the ball, and this is what they like to do, connect passes. And McKenna, well, there to get a tackle in, a little bit of a wrestling match there, but Pitt very organized. They hold a very high line in the back, try to squeeze a team. They're going to make Syracuse play front to back within a 35-yard swath of the field.
Here's McKenna once again, trying to chip it through for Kalukian. And Cabral Carter off his line to sweep it away.
He's not looking at the ball. He's not looking at the ball.
Referee has stopped the clock and already has the yellow card out for Luis Samkow. Right call in your book, Dean?
You know what? I'm not sure. Yeah, at this point from that angle, yeah, it is. He's got to look at the ball and he's got to see, you know, he's got to make a play on the ball. Didn't look like he played the man, not the ball, and didn't have any intention of going after the ball. So, yeah, that's the right call. But it's tough to pick up cards early in the game because a second, you know, innocuous card, maybe a slip and a tackle, you know, you end up playing down a man. It's not what you want to. It's not what you want to do is pick up cards early.
Yellow card has been issued to Pittsburgh's number 17, Luis Samkow, in the evening minute.
Coach McIntyre, right underneath us, was right. He was screaming that Sam Cowell wasn't looking at the ball, and gee, you're spot on. Seems like the smart booking. And now Sam Cowell has to play a little bit smarter. Kina, with pressure, able to get away. Sam Cowell couldn't really put a challenge in.
It'll be interesting to see Pitt is holding a really high line, even when a player breaks through the middle of the midfield unmarked. They're still holding that high line, which leaves the area in behind them for balls to be played into and runners to come from wide positions or bending runs to get onto the end of them. How quickly Syracuse will pick up on that and time their runs and slot passes that break the back four line will be key to getting through the back of the team. But Pitt very organized, very experienced at the back.
Try to organize a little bit now. Lefebvre. Or pass in midfield. Lukian trying to run onto it, had some contact. That's what the Syracuse faithful were asking about. Didn't look like too much. And heads up play from Levesque. Smith trying to set the shape. Kina had to track back a little bit. So too does Singelman. That was a very difficult pass to play. Probably not the right decision.
Nick, I need striker.
You can hear him asking for Kalukian to check back after winning that throw. And Kalukian's got some space now. Edwards is open. Maselli was offsides.
And there's that high line of Pitt at the back. They're organized and understand the timing of balls played through the back. Maselli, Kalukian, they're going to have to time their runs, angle their runs, bend their runs is probably a better way to say it, just so that they can stay on side.
It's another yellow card for Baselli. Strange to see the booking there, maybe time wasting. He did kick the ball away at the end of it, but.
Yeah, that could be. It's a difficult call. Again, cards early are not what you want to see. It's one thing to try and make a tackle and set the tone, but then you got to live with that for the rest of the half and the rest of the game.
So both star strikers that we talked about in the referee's book early, very creative flick in midfield from Baselli. A little bit too much sauce underneath it.
Yeah, Gunley cuts out a good ball, pushes it forward, almost creates on the interception an attacking opportunity.
Gilman.
And now the numbers are there for Syracuse. Difficult to play through that.
Singelman went down right in front of the official. And the call is a corner kick. Or a throw-in, rather. No, corner kick. Back to take it again. Has that in-swinging delivery with his left foot right in front of alumni corner. Some of the alumni from this program in town tonight.
A lot of alumni here. A lot of alumni here from a bunch of different eras.
Deep delivery. Headed on one more time, and it's 1-1.
Right on cue. Baselli, sneaky good in the air. Timing, gets himself in good positions in the box. Right on cue, Baselli shows up.
Lorenzo Baselli, all 5'11" of him, with his 5th goal of the season and the 3rd with his head.
Baselli does a great job of operating underneath the tall trees in the back of the box, at the back post. Ball comes back across. He's there to clean it up. This will go a long way for the Syracuse confidence. And I think, folks, this is going to be an open game. I think they're going to open this thing up. And, you know, if you'd have told me it was going to be 1-1 less than 15 minutes into the game, I'm not sure I would have.
It is an electric start. The students are fired up. So too is Erin Fleury from the Syracuse women's soccer team. She brought her vuvuzela. Never one to be quiet. But Dean, what does that do for a striker? You don't find the back of the net in a little while. You manage to get up, get a good headed goal, and get an equalizer in front of this crowd.
Well, I think his confidence will go through the roof now, and it's something that, you know, they've been playing away. They've played 2 difficult road games in 2 places that are very difficult to play. It's nice to get home, be in the friendly confines, get off to a good start. I mean, Basili's, that was maybe his 3rd touch of the ball this half, and it's a goal with his head.
Vasselli with the opportunity to get a couple more touches now, playing Kalukian. Flag stayed down. Ball escaping the forward.
Pitt's got to be careful. Syracuse putting a lot of pressure on them in their own half of the field. Nicholas Kalukian really works hard. I think, you know, when you watch him, he really spends a lot of energy trying to pressure the center backs of the opponent, take them out of their game.
Thorson at the top of the key, plays the overlapping run. Early cross flicked on and flicked over. There were a couple Panthers pouncing on it.
Really good attack there. Raphael Sealy, you'll see a lot of that. He comes up, he's actually their right defender in the back 4. You'll see him push high when they build out. He'll get forward. He's expected to get into the final third of the field and deliver crosses. He does it there. Syracuse has got to be sure that, you know, in the front of the goal mouth, they've got people accounted for, because it's another situation where, you know, a little bit better timing of the cross and the run that can turn into a real problem.
I'm curious to get your take on that chance if Thorson maybe took that away from Samkow. Samkow was there at the back post. Thorson stuck out a foot. It was awkward. He hit it with the outside of his boot. Maybe letting that run would have made it 2-1.
Yeah, they may want that one. They may want that one back, but we'll see how the game goes. You know, you get opportunities like that. If it's the only one you get, you're definitely going to want it back.
Edwards was ready to skip away, denied by the shrill sound of Carl Coomer's whistle, and he's produced a yellow card as well.
See, at some point, the players on both teams have to recalibrate and understand that, you know, this referee, and you know, it's not wrong or right, but Carl Coomer is going to, you know, he's drawn the line and said, look, there's not going to be any time wasting. And he's going to start handing out cards. And again, it seems not like a big deal, but when you start getting into the further stages of this game, you know, if Olu Agunle is asked to, you know, put a tackle on somebody and he does, and is a second late and gets another yellow, that could be a problem. And the same goes for the Pitt players when they take a yellow. It's not something you want to get a frivolous yellow for time wasting or dissent.
And there's a piece to be said as well about setting the tone in an ACC matchup, but 3 yellow cards in the first 15 minutes, that, it's not unheard of, but it's quite rare.
Right, and you know, they add up, you know, and they add up and over time, and you know, you get to a point where you've got to sit out a game because you've accumulated too many yellow cards. That can hurt you.
On the yellow card was assessed to number 18, named Edwards.
1-2 played into space, and Blues will comfortably see that back to Smith. Josh Blues playing that traditional holding midfielder role, something he's done very well this season, the Villanova transfer.
You're taking it. Keep the ball.
Coach McIntyre just trying to calm things down. Usually he's the most animated on the sideline.
Well, you can hear Coach McIntyre. He wants his team to be on the ball, keep the ball. In a perfect world, you're keeping it, knocking it around in their half of the field, the opponent's half.
Trying to break through, and it's chipped over the head of Toure. A team that prides itself on its ability to connect passes really hasn't been able to build out of the back for the past couple stages of play. Singelman went in with his studs there. It sounded like he got the ball, and the referee has let play continue with Felipe Mercado on the ground. Here's Nate Edwards, driving it himself, heavy touch, falling through a couple players. Now falls to Mirkovic.
Great ball. Thorson is away.
It is a very good ball. Thorson trying to get his feet right, plays the pass. Shot from distance, and Smith put a hand to it over the bar, but really from that sort of range, Pitt need to be creating some more trouble.
Great ball played through to Thorson, who then passes it over to Sam Cowan, hits a bomb that Smith is asked to try and save, and does well to do so. Gavin Wigg does a really good job of running down Thorson in the initial ball played through.
Luis Samkow with 5 goals this season for Pitt, leads Coach Vidovich's team in that category, and really a player of his caliber needs to be picking a side of the goalkeeper there. Put it right down the middle, but it is a Panthers corner kick. Movement by the penalty mark. Short run checks in. It is a short cross as well, headed away at the near post.
Pitt will try to regroup and possess this a little bit and try and turn the tables and keep it in Syracuse's half of the field.
Mercado, Maifo. Syracuse backline gets a chance to step up now. Jackson Gilman.
Gilman, only a sophomore, but his age really belies his experience.
And it is Gilman tracking back and winning a goal kick for Pitt. Vaselli has to be careful.
Yes,
He's already on a yellow card.
Yeah, he does. It's, again, we go back to, you know, you don't want cards to play a role in this. These teams are both having a go at one another. They've both had some opportunities, good look at goal. You know, it'd be a shame if someone on 2 yellow cards, the team has to play down. And
Makina shrugs off Toure. Ballou's on the turn. Now Edwards. Good pass through to find Wigg. Makina once again. Syracuse knocking it from side to side, trying to switch the point of attack, and Levesque flicking it out of play.
And that ball that Levesque flicks through, I mean, that's one way to beat a high line in a group that's flatting into the back of the team. Syracuse seems to be onto that, flicking balls, trying to split defenders at the back of Pitt's team. Pitt needs to be careful that they recover. If you're off the ball and you're not...
It was a curling effort.
If you're not pressuring the ball, you're holding a high line, but you've got to be on your toes to be able to track runs of runners, you know, running off of the guy receiving the ball. Good hit there. Little wide, couldn't get his foot all the way around it to curl it in.
Mateo Levesque with only 1 goal to his name this season. Against Louisville, the last time Syracuse was here and played a complete game.
Levesque is good with his left. So you can get an idea the level of comfortability that Pitt has. They've got, you know, they see the pressure and they're willing to play through it, and you know, are actually doing it. And so, you know, there's a trade-off there. You know, the risk, there's some risk involved, but they choose to do it. They'd rather be on the ball and dictating play. Syracuse is going to try and work hard to disrupt that play and that rhythm.
Something that really sticks out to me about Syracuse's play is Baselli keeps dropping back a little bit, playing those one-touch passes, and that's really more akin to his role with the team last year. He wasn't an out-and-out forward. He played more of a 10, that attacking midfielder. Maybe a chance with him now with that confidence back in his step, as you mentioned, to play a more familiar game for himself.
Well, I think it may be more to the point that if you don't have the luxury of having Nathan Opoku and Levante Johnson in front of you to, you know, he can't fly under the radar anymore. Maybe he has to separate from the back 4 of another team to try and get to the ball because they're keying on him. He doesn't have the luxury of having other players to shoulder that.
Counter chance for Panthers. Knocked away at the near post. There were white shirts flying forward. They'll have to track back now. Mateo Levesque checking his shoulder. He's got a lot of space, but not a lot of help. Baselli completely sliced across it.
Yeah, that was a little uncharacteristic there.
More of that one-touch passing from the Italy native. Sam Cow, he's checked back in as well. Really has been playing much deeper with his back to goal. He gets to get forward now. The ball finds the feet of Thorson.
Thorson, Sam Cow, I mean, these guys are all, Mirkovic, they're comfortable playing under pressure. So, you know, as much as Syracuse is pressuring them, you can see Sam Cow, you know, isn't put off by having some pressure up his backside and someone closing him down. You know, they're good at shielding the ball. They're technical. They connect passes.
Thorson, Edwards in the way, and Edwards getting the ball.
Syracuse doing a good job. They're very careful when they do win the ball not to give it right back and right on cue.
A little bit of the announcer's jinx there.
I think, though, that's, you know, when you play against a team like Pitt who like to be on the ball and who like to keep it and knock it around and get in the rhythm of play, you got to, one way to prevent that is when you get the ball to not give it right back to them and make sure that you're taking the air out of their sails by having some time on the ball yourselves. And Syracuse has done a decent job of that.
Carter's pass for Sam Cow.
And again, Sam Cow, he doesn't mind that. Gavin Wigg doing a good job not letting him turn, but Sam Cow can play with his back to the goal.
This hit that one. Bit of a gift for the Orange. As Singelman and Edwards, the two outside midfielders, are right up there on the Pitt back line with the two forwards for Syracuse. Trying to stretch the pitch vertically. Leah Gunley. Coach McIntyre saying just to keep possession now. McKenna wants to go for a run. Needs help and chips it in behind for Singelman, who is making that run. He's got Kalukian in the box if he can pick him out. It's for Kalukian, it's behind him. Edwards is there, and it's over the crossbar.
Syracuse doing a good job. Singelman timing his run, staying level with that last line of defense and then getting onto it. Syracuse players flooding the box. Missed by Kalukian, just a little bit behind him, but Edwards gets a clean look. Needs to keep that on target. Good opportunity for the Orange.
Leah Gunley intercepting another poor pass from Cabral Carter.
Gunley and McKenna do a good job of playing side on to their men and actually getting off the mark quickly when balls are played forward to try and cut them out. And not just cut them out, but start the team off in the other direction. Play players out of the game with the pass that you make after you intercept it.
And Pitt really faltering to clear their lines now for quite some time. Suffocating pressure from the Orange with Singelman. Vaselli trying to drive at his mark, running out of room, got it back across. The shot comes in, and it flashes wide. Kalukian again, very nearly getting a goal.
Kalukian putting his own spin on playing with your back to the goal, does a good job of holding off pressure, spins and hits a shot just wide of the far post. Cabral long and lanky in the goal, though may have had that covered. Good attack. Good opportunity.
Nicholas Kalukian with just one goal to his name on the road against Wake Forest, but has done so much work with the ball at his feet this season. Very unlucky not to have more points next to his name. Sam Cow again feeling the heat, fighting through some physical contact, going down and winning the foul.
He's really done a good job of, you know, holding off pressure, pulling other players into the game by being able to hold that pressure off, lay balls off, and it's the difference between, you know, giving the ball right back and being stuck in your own half of the field if you can't play under that kind of pressure, and being able to lay a ball off, possess it, move into the other team's half of the field.
Another chance for Cabral Carter to try and start a little bit of a better attack from the back. That go-to pass for him is in midfield with Filip Mirkovic.
Mirkovic, another cool customer on the ball, very technical. Coach Vidovic just loves the instinctual play of a guy like Mirkovic. soccer IQ is very high. He thinks ahead, makes quick decisions, and has a technical ability to pull off what he's thinking about doing with the ball. So he's a key player for them in there. And it's between himself and Felipe Mercado, they're very calm on the ball, composed. They're not put off by the pressure.
Edwards went down again. It looked like a clean challenge. And Gunley winning it cleanly as well.
Gunley does well there to win that ball without fouling.
Mateo Mayufo back for Jackson Gilman, former all-freshman team selection, has stepped into a leadership role this season.
Pitt is not deterred. Sorry, Pitt is not deterred by the pressure that they see. They pick out passes. They're precise with their passes.
Sam Cowell. Thorson was making the run. He couldn't pick him out. Mayufo once again. Trying to skip away from Singleman, and he will. Mateo Mayufo going forward now. Luis Samkow has space to shoot, and will, and it's off the post and in. Pitt retake the lead.
Samkow, not deterred, rolls a player, curls it inside the post. Mayufo does a great job of creating this goal. Turns, snaps off a shot. Can't give a guy like him a look in and around the top of the 18. He's got to be closed quicker. But that's what he does, and it's interesting because he started this attack off by falling all the way back into the middle of the midfield, receiving a ball and trying to get the thing going, and he ends up on the other side of it, finishing it off.
Number 6 on the season for the Texan. Leads Coach Vidovich's side in goal scoring, and that's his 4th in 2 games after a hat trick last time out against FDU.
Well, this is what he does. He's a goal scorer, and he's had to step up this year. His role, they're depending on him more this year than last year because of the personnel that they have, but he's answering the call.
A strike that left no chance for Jason Smith means it's 2-1. 17.5 to go in the first 45.
What I thought might be a tight affair has turned into anything but.
That's not the first time that Nate Edwards has found himself on a lot of space on that far side, but Syracuse just unable to pick out that pass.
And even with that kind of pressure, Pitt is, I don't think comfortable is the right word to use, but they're not deterred by the pressure. And to be honest, Syracuse is putting them under good pressure. I mean, that last goal, the pressure needed to be there earlier, but as far as through the run of play, they're working hard to try and put Pitt under pressure, and Pitt seems to be playing right through it, not bothered.
Makina give it another try. Levesque is onside. Mateo Levesque going himself, slowing it, looking for an option. Onto his left foot. And the hands go on heads from the Syracuse faithful. Why on earth did Mateo Levesque refuse to take a shot? He's got it again. Onto his left foot once again. Levesque. Pass off a Pitt defender, collects his own rebound. Panthers starting to settle in though. Makina, lovely pass. Vaselli, back out wide. Singleman thinking about the cross. It's out for a corner.
Well, Syracuse is pressing. Good initial ball to get through and get them into this half of the field. This deflection here will result in a corner.
But Dean, why is Mateo Levesque not trying a shot there? At the very least, playing a pass. Was he just caught in between two minds?
Yeah, I think maybe, and obviously he's comfortable with the ball on his left. He's on the right side. Maybe he felt like he didn't have an angle. Syracuse has got to take opportunities when they present themselves.
Opportunity from the corner here. Levesque to deliver. Headed on back post volley. Flashes wide, but it was caught oh so sweetly by Noah Singelman.
Noah Singelman gets on the end of this. Deflected, isn't cleared by Pitt. He gets onto it, hits it a little wide, can't quite catch it where he can get it under the bar, but it is a good look. We're really being treated to some end-to-end action here.
This is fantastic soccer. Absolutely fantastic. The shadow of that ball just seeming to caress the post. It really wasn't far away. Sam Cow now with the goal and playing a good pass. The arms go up from the Syracuse bench, and so too does the flag.
Well, Sam Cow again doing what he does, holding off pressure, receiving a ball, playing the last ball through. I will say this, Mr. Kumar is being consistent, you know, balls being kicked away, time wasting. He's reprimanding, handing out cards. Both teams got to be careful. This is something that can come back and haunt you in the second half. Things really start to heat up and both teams start pressing either to equalize or to find a go-ahead goal. 3 points are on the line in these ACC games. And, you know, if you're Syracuse, you're at home, your best chance to get the 3 points for any ACC team are their home games. And Pitt, you know, they are trying to get 3 points, if not get out of here with a point. It's going to get heated, as all these ACC battles do, and the last thing you want hanging over your head is yellow cards. Now you got to start subbing as a coach. You know, do I need to pull somebody because I'm afraid they're going to get another yellow card and we're going to be down a man, which really puts you in a hole.
4 yellow cards tonight, split right down the middle, only one of which was for a foul. Michael Sullivan, the latest name in the referee's pocketbook. Thorson with some space to himself, tried to create a flick and went down, and the referee immediately motioning for the forward to get to his feet.
Syracuse did a good job to quickly recover, but the initial header, Baluz didn't quite clear.
It bounces in front. Torre can't put it home. It's a scramble, and it's away. Appeals for a handball and a sliding challenge that doesn't find the ball. The referee will stop play.
Josh Baluz, just a valiant effort here to throw his body in front of this shot to prevent another goal. Syracuse scraping and trying to keep this from going in. Baluz does go down. Not sure if he collided with a Pitt player or if that was the work of the ball hitting him. It's hard to tell from that angle.
Josh Baluz ready to lay everything on the line for this team.
I mean, the ball comes across. Sam Cow and Mayafu both trying to get on the end of it. Baluz throwing himself in front of it, saved a goal. Hopefully he seems to be a little bit worse for the wear, but he looks all right.
Baluz's arm was outstretched, and Dean, we were talking about this before the game about how the ACC is introducing some newer replay rules, but one of the rules that we were talking about was the PK review, and unless it's called as a penalty on the field, it can't be looked at.
Correct. In the ACC, one of the additional stipulations to using video assistant review is, one of the stipulations is a foul has to be called. So in other words, if it's called, then you can review it. If it's not called, you cannot go back and review it to see.
I think that's what Mateo Mayufo was asking the fourth official about. Josh Baluz, a true trooper, is already back on his feet.
Right.
Looks like he wants to get back into the action.
Right, so he'll start off the field and he'll be waved back on at the first opportunity.
There are 2 substitutes lined up, one for each side. Felipe DeAgostini for Syracuse and Luca Cozamara for Pitt, set to enter the fray. 13 and change left in the first half from SU Soccer Stadium. Philip Galati and Dean Fody with you, and Well, it's 2-1. Safe to say that neither of us were expecting that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you look at the number of opportunities both teams have had in front of the other, the other team's goal, I'm not sure I expected both these defenses to maybe be that, to yield that many chances. So I'm sure both coaches are going to have a word with their teams about tightening things up in the back.
Appeals for offside against Thorson, again not given. Lovely flick on the overlapping run. Gunley was in the way. Second chance, ball could still be worked into the area.
Once again, Silly way up the field from his right back position.
Worked out wide once again. Cross towards Sam Cow, headed away at first. Lukian trying to hold it up, got his pocket picked. Gilman. Rather Lefebvre going forward.
Lefebvre very confident, calm on the ball.
Mercado. Lefebvre, poor pass in midfield. Nate Edwards with a lot of space on that far side. Orange shirts getting forward, plays the overlapping run, the back heel, unable to be played in. The Syracuse students were asking for a foul, but the best the Orange will get is a goal kick. Corner kick, rather.
We're entering that stage of the game as we approach halftime. We're going to be inside 10 minutes here shortly. This is where you really want to shore things up in the back. You don't want to give up a goal going into the half.
So a couple changes before halftime. Still a lot of soccer to be played before the break.
Yep.
Michael Susky and Felipe D'Agostini in for Coach McIntyre. Noah Singelman and Nicholas Kalukian will make way.
Looking to get some fresh legs on to get through the critical next 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
Giorgio Konchevsky on the corner kick. Flicked on once again. Cleared away from the danger zone. Susky's first touch off the bench.
So there again is another example of Baselli, sneaky good in the air on those crosses.
Here comes Toure. He's got a goal and a man to his right-hand side, trying to pick out the pass. And it escaped Louis Samkow, but that really should have been 3-1 Pitt.
Kuchevsky, great serve in, flicked on at the near post by Baselli, which he has had an act to do, but Syracuse got to be careful on the counter. When they commit that many players forward, Pitt answers like they...
Agostini trying to play another pass, and it's another offside flag against Lorenzo Baselli this time.
Just to finish that thought, when you have a corner, you've committed so many players forward into the other team's box, you've got to be sharp in transition. When the play is over, you got to get back.
So just to remind everyone at home about how we got here, it only took 5 minutes for the Panthers to break the deadlock through Abdoulaye Toure. Then Lorenzo Baselli answering with his 5th of the season, and Louis Samkow with a very well-hit dipping strike off the upright to make it 2-1, the 28th.
And to be honest, there could have been more.
There should have been more.
Yep.
Nate Edwards had a chance to go over the bar. The Panthers just had a counterattack that really should have been buried. But two teams that pride themselves on their defensive acumen.
It'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made at the half. I believe Simcoe has to be addressed, on the Syracuse side of things. He's really been an integral part of them being able to play through thirds of the field and at least get out of the back half of, the field, and everything has seemed to have gone through the first ball up to him. Pitt has got to be careful with that high line. Syracuse's chances have come off of well-timed runs where people are bending runs, 2 flick-ons that are put in the spaces behind the high line that Pitt holds. So they'll have to address that. I mean, that's where the chances have come from. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of adjustments are made. But, you know, we're not done with the first half. So, you know, there could be more.
There may well be more with the ball at the feet of Filip Mirkovic. Gilman doesn't see anybody making the run. Plays the 1-2 instead with Mercado. Mayafo. Mirkovic. Breaking out a couple feints, trying to sell his defender. In the end, well defended by Giorgio Kuchevsky. Gilman in a bit of trouble now. Sophomore able to get it away. Sam Cow on the turn. Playing the overlapping run, and Ballou's got a toe poke to deny Albert Thorson a chance.
You know, the battle between Ballou's and Sam Cow, which has now seemed to be, you know, a feature sort of grudge match here. That's going to play out, and right now, you know, Sam Cow is actually able to turn in tight circles. He's able to kind of maneuver himself around. That's become a problem. He's also adept at slipping balls through like he did right there.
What does Coach Vidovic have in store for this set piece? The Panthers are crowding the penalty spot. One run showing for the short ball. It's not played. Now more movement in the box. Delivery comes in. There was a head that rose to meet it, but it was out of play. So, Dean, I've got a question for you. If you're Coach McIntyre, do you go to a back four? The pro is you get an extra mark on Luis Sam Cow, but the con is they tried that against Cornell. It didn't really work. They ended up losing that game. It's the first game they've lost in 20 contests.
Well, Sam Cow's in the middle of the field. So when I say in the middle of the field, if you were to split the field into thirds, you know, vertically, he's in the center part of the park, the center, you know, channel, if you will. So a back four, you know, you've got an able and capable defender in number 6, for lack of a better way to put it, in Ballou's, who's now seemingly matched up with him. He's checking back into the midfield. I'm not sure I would go that far and put a back four together, not at this stage. Syracuse is still having success at the other end, getting through. I mean, if you do that, that means you're pulling somebody back in, out of the midfield or even up front and playing with one up front. And so I'm not sure I would do that, at least not at this stage of the game.
Now start to slide.
Selly not going to start the slide. Instead, it's D'Agostini, the fresh legs off the bench.
You can nick it. Good, up, up, up.
He might get it now. It falls to Lorenzo Baselli. Plays the pass to the far side. Sliding challenge denies the chance.
So there lies the danger of playing through that kind of pressure. When Syracuse is successful at turning them over, you know, the good news for Syracuse is you're right in front of the other team's goal. Bad news for Pitt is, you know, you're giving up chances if you are not clean when you play out under that kind of pressure.
Torre went for the nutmeg. It was messy, but he got it back. Sam Cow turning away from Cage. Mirkovic sharing the wealth. Forced to play back. Looked a bit nervy for the Orange there. Under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Pitt trying to break out at pace once again. 1-2 in the overlap, not connecting.
That's a good win by Ballou's right there, keeping the ball from getting into Sam Cow, cutting it out at the source, not even letting him get his first touch on the ball. So that, you know, that could be an answer. You know, playing a little bit more side on to a guy like Sam Cow, so he doesn't get the first ball into his feet. Ballou's does a good job there.
Josh Ballou's battled some injuries through his last year at Villanova. Went down once tonight. Took a couple hard knocks against Cornell last time out for Syracuse too, but still trying to hold down the engine room in the center of the park. Referee had a look, didn't motion for advantage, now he does. Pitt will go forward. And Ballou's with another challenge. Sounded like he got the ball, but definitely some contact as well.
Well, it's an important win. He's a ball winner and a great attack off in the other direction.
Sliding challenge at the edge of the area. The referee has stopped it. And he's gone to his back pocket as well. It is a straight red card. And Pitt are reduced to 10 men. Lorenzo Baselli causing problems. And the Orange now have the man advantage the next 48 minutes.
So this is that situation we had pointed to early on with regard to he is the last man. But what will be important is, will this be reviewed? And in order for it to be reviewed, the call had to be made. So a straight red is, in an ACC game, a reviewable offense. So he can go to the monitors and take a look, as we see him doing here.
Carl Kummer, the man in charge tonight. I mean, Dean, to your point, he did look like the last man. It's a sliding challenge. He's not playing the ball. There isn't much of a case in terms of endangering the safety of an opponent, but well, I like that decision. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to come down to, you know, what he sees on the video. And again, he'll have to determine, is this a fair challenge? One, if it's not.
Oh, does he get a poke there? Does he get just a fraction of a stud on that ball? Because that completely changes the situation if so.
Mr. Kummer will have an important decision to make here. But in fairness, that's why the rule is there, though. You know, he can make the call knowing that he can review it. If he does not make the call and they let that play on and the play goes on, you can't come back and then review it. So, you know, both coaches, in talking to them about this type of video review.
I mean, he is the last man. The question is whether he gets just the slightest of touch on the ball. It's really tough from that angle. I mean, I don't think there's a definitive look there to change the on-field decision.
Well, we'll see. It's, again, it's a big decision in what has already been a pretty open game, end-to-end action. It will certainly change the
May have just got a touch there. I don't know. It's a tough one.
If you're a Pitt fan, it wasn't a foul. If you're a Syracuse fan, he should get the red.
Ian, can I have you? Jake, can I have you?
Let's listen to the refs.
So I have no red. I have a 22 gets the ball, so it's going to be a corner kick for Syracuse.
Are you able to take the scene from the beginning where it's offsides here?
It wasn't an offside. It's not reviewable.
Well, okay, if it's not reviewable, fair enough. It's offside.
So you can hear Coach Vidovich asking. There is no red card, so he did have the opportunity to go back and review it.
He may have just got a very slight touch on that ball. That one look behind the goal. I mean,
so Syracuse will get a corner out of this. So it's been determined it was a fair challenge. The ball went off of the Pitt defender, Syracuse corner. Coach Vidovich was questioning whether there was an offsides prior to that challenge, but that's not a reviewable offense. So that gets bypassed and was determined not to be offside in the referee's judgment. Corner for Syracuse.
It's another good delivery. Falls on the volley once again. It's blocked, and Torrey can bring it away. The SU Soccer Stadium faithful have been silenced, and a chance to inflict further damage with the Frenchman on the wing. Torrey looking to dance, trying to skip away from Diaz Bonilla. Got a touch of it.
Diaz Bonilla did the hard work to get back and put a damper on that attack. Good effort on his end after a Susky shot down at the Syracuse end.
Another nutmeg from Abdoulaye Touré.
Torrey clever with his feet, dangerous on the run. This is a Pitt team, in as much as it's a lot of new guys, they're very experienced, very savvy, very seasoned, whether they're, you know, an older player or whether they're a younger player like Gilman in the back. Their soccer experiences give them the ability, the experience, the confidence, the guile to be able to operate under these kind of pressure situations.
The atmosphere has completely shifted here in Central New York. You can just feel a sense of a weight on this crowd. The last time Syracuse was here, there was a very long video review at the end of that Louisville game. Syracuse was up, last minute corner. Visitors knock it in, it's 2-2.
Well, Philip, this is an ACC game, right? This is what these things are all about. It's end-to-end action. You know, both teams are taking turns at having a go at one another, like often happens when two good teams play each other. And the trick becomes, you know, what adjustments can you make at the half so that when you come out, more of it goes in your favor. And so that's the art of coaching, and you know, these two guys are two of the best at it.
It is a tall glass of water ahead for Coach Vidovich and for Coach McIntyre. Just so much drama, so much excitement. I mean, it has been an incredible first half of ACC soccer. Where else would you be on a Friday night?
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Vidovich and Coach McIntyre. Coach Vidovich, here we go again. Coach Vidovich, you know, and Coach McIntyre have won the last 3 ACC Coach of the Year awards. So there's no surprise that they're in this situation. Vidovich had Pitt in the College Cup 2 out of the last 3 years. McIntyre pulled the treble last year with a national championship as the crowning achievement.
Trying to do honor to that championship tonight. It's flicked on. It's another equalizing goal.
Gavin Wigg. A flick on to Wigg and the goal, the equalizer.
Balouz was first to it. Gavin Wigg was there as well. It is a jubilant orange crowd here at SU Soccer Stadium, and the drama just keeps on coming.
Great service by Kaczewski. Balouz gets his head on it. Wigg crashes at the back post and bodies it in. 2-2. And we go on.
It's the Columbus, Ohio native first goal of the season. It was awkward. He'll take it any way he can get it. A 4-goal first half. Absolutely electric.
Assisted by number 8, Giorgio Kaczewski.
Kaczewski with a great serve. Balouz battles to get onto the first one, flicks it to the back post where Wigg is waiting to finish the thing off. Critical goal at a critical time in the game. Will send both teams in, it looks like, level.
Such a shame that there's only 20 seconds left of the half, but maybe a much needed chance for both sides to take a breather on what has been a back and forth, hotly contested, emphatically dueled first half.
Fans are being treated to a good one.
2, 1, 0.
The horn sounds. 4 goals in 45 minutes, split right down the middle at 2 apiece. Syracuse and Pitt level after 1. It has been the caliber of MLS players and going into Europe as well.
Oh, it's incredible. As you could say, like, you know, of course there's the academy, but there's still players being drafted from college. And it's funny enough, yeah, I was in Miami on Wednesday, and I was with Kamal Miller. And we had a coffee, and just to show that we went to the same school, but he got to go to the World Cup. And when he started off, it wasn't necessarily a great start in Orlando, but in Montreal, he got his footing, and now he's one of the stellar defenders for Canada. Great chance there.
Very good chance for Michael Susky. What'd you see there?
Yeah, no, Syracuse starting off a lot with some good forward play and being aggressive, and this is what they need to do. First half, I think they were a bit hesitant, Pittsburgh is quite good at building out, but it's a good start to show that with Pittsburgh that they're coming on the front foot and wanting to score and getting to the lead.
It's interesting too, Patrice. I mean, Pitt is pretty composed on the ball, huh? In terms of they can play under pressure and still build through it. Syracuse has been opportunistic in turning them over a couple of times. Some opportunities have come up. You're involved with the SU Success program, the mentorship program that Coach McIntyre has put together with the help of some of the alumni. You know, a great program where players are matched with, current players are matched with alums who are in the same profession as them, and you know, those mentors provide mentorship, professional networking. How do you find that, being involved in that? Is that a rewarding experience?
Yeah, definitely. As Neeraj Chopra was one of the former teammates who's part of that program and leading the program, called me up and said, yeah, definitely, I would like to be part of that. As we're seeing it's good to see Syracuse on the front foot. Now it has to get the back of the net, but
we got to get you in here more often. Seem to be good luck coming out of the break. Felipe DeAgostini just getting a little bit underneath that, not really picking a side of the goalkeeper, but
DeAgostini's one of those players too, where Coach McIntyre he has enough depth where he can make like-for-like subs, but he also has some depth in terms of he can insert a guy like DeAgostini, who's a little bit different than some of the other players in terms of his flair, his creativity, and he's showing it here. I mean, it changes the game a little bit. One of the changes we've seen that he's made, DeAgostini came in late in the first half. He's left him out there because maybe he is providing a little bit more of a spark, different than what they saw in the first half with the starting group.
good win by Susky in transition. Referee has waved play on as well. With Kalukian, the Travella pass, asking a lot of DeAgostini. The Brazilian's going to get to it, bearing it on goal and got it poked away from him. Second chance still alive, fed back to the top of the 6, not quite cleared away, and now will fall safely into the grasp of Cabral Carter.
yeah, Syracuse, like I said, but they're realizing the first half there was room in the back space to expose Pittsburgh, but they needed pace, and you can see that DeAgostini right away. The first thing that the Syracuse players are thinking is, where is he? Play it in behind, and these are two great opportunities that the Syracuse just created. Now you have to put them at the back of the net because you don't want Pittsburgh to start shifting the momentum their way.
Stretching the game. Syracuse stretching the game. Susky and D'Agostino, the late subs in the first half. They've been left down in the second half, and they've been effective in the early going here, coming out in the second half.
Patrice, if I may, what's one thing you learned from the college game that helped prepare you for professional career? What's one thing that really stuck out during your playing days here?
Well, I came from Canada, so of course, you excel in your own area or throughout the country. But when you come into NCAA, now you're playing against, back then it was UConn, St. John's, they were all top 25, Rutgers, and then playing against guys that are actually a few years older than you also, because when I came in, I was 17, 18, and you have guys who are 20, 21, you have programs, we have Bobby Ryan, Brent Rahim, I remember back then at UConn, and it's just a fair against all these other talents that are from different parts of the country or different countries, and it's to try to play for Syracuse and be performant, and also show that you can play, for me as a Canadian coming into an American program, and show off that my skill set is as good as others, and that Dean Fody wasn't wrong into recruiting me. And so so it was a bit toughening me up to a different landscape, because of course American sports, the mindset is I would say a bit different than in Canada, where the competition is so high because it's so much demand of players playing from everywhere. So gave me those tools, that competitiveness to prepare myself, and to give me the confidence to say, okay, I'm ready for the next level, to step up to the professional level after the 2 seasons that I spent here.
And we can talk a little bit too about one of your teammates who happens to be in a pretty high position with Montreal at the present time, Gabriel Gervais.
Yeah.
You keep in touch with Gabby.
Yeah. Actually, we just FaceTimed him because I know that he's traveling with the team. They're in Atlanta on the weekend, and he had arrived 1 year before me, and we're from the same city, and we shared a lot up front. Sometimes spatting for who takes the free kicks and everything, and Dean or some other players had to
intervene,
exactly. So, but yeah, he had a great career also, and he jumped into a business world working in Deloitte, and now he's the president of the CF Montreal, which wasn't easy to step into, but he's doing a fairly good job, and the team has a new philosophy. And like I said, I just FaceTimed him so he could see some former teammates, because he's quite busy, as you all know. And but yeah, we had some great moments here and some great goals we scored on this field, and winning some games playing for Syracuse.
Well, any coach would be lucky to have both these guys playing for you, because they make you look good. I was a good coach when they played for me.
But as they say, you have to have the eye of the talent, and then he recruited us, brought us in, and after that, yeah, of course, we had to execute the ideas. But yeah, that's some good ones. That's some other good teammates at the time. John Andrade, who's now a coach at Providence. You know,
a good little combination there. Sorry to interrupt, but just a good little piece of combination play by Syracuse. Almost snuck through.
Yeah,
Didn't quite make it.
The confidence has built up in the second half compared to the first half, where they let Pittsburgh dictate the play.
So how do you find calling MLS games? I mean, when you watch, do you put in a lot of time, study time, learning who the players are? You probably know who most of them are anyway from playing against some of them.
Yeah, some of them are still familiar from the time that I played, but yeah, the thing is, things change, coaches change, teams invest in the transfer market to bring players. So yeah, I try to pay attention to a lot of games. I love the game by itself already, so even when I was here, I was watching games religiously. So, but now it's paying attention to what's happening. Players, young players, players that are coming from abroad, and also coaches bringing different ideas. You know, I had the chance to coach and be coached by Wilfred Nancy, who was in Columbus, and seeing teams that are developing their own philosophy. So yeah, putting a lot of time, but I love the game. So for me, it's not work. It's just I'm living my passion differently. I was a player, executor, and then a coach, but now I'm analyzing and enjoying being still next to MLS in a different role.
So give us a taste of some analysis then on DeAndre Kerr, Syracuse player, Canadian international, and now playing with Toronto.
Yeah, the last few weeks have been, I think he's taken another step. The beginning of the year, you could see he was playing on right wing forward, and Toronto needed a forward presence that you actually brought depth. And I think he knows now how to play with Insigne and Bernardeschi, and it shows. He has 2 goals in the last 3 games. He's making more runs. He's not coming towards the ball as often. Now he's realizing that he has to be more patient and also lethal. The goal against Vancouver, 1v1, very calm, collected, placed it. Shows his maturity in a difficult situation because Toronto's not having a great season. But I could say he's one of the players that could say that he has shining light in a very dark season for Toronto FC this year.
Well, last thing, I'll leave you with this question. How do you think you do in the middle of this game?
Middle of this game, I would have been up front, but I think with D'Agostini, I would have put that goal. It would be 3-2 right now.
That's good. That's good. Well, we thank you so much for sharing your time with us, and we know you got a busy schedule, but it's great to have you back on campus, and we hope to get you back more often.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. Thanks. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, look, it took 25 years for me to get back here, but a lot of things have changed, and definitely with the mentorship program, being connected, and Syracuse has a big place in my heart because, like I said, the stepping stones to realizing that I could be a pro started off here, and I'm really happy to be back, seeing Dean, seeing some of the alumni, and hopefully seeing a win.
All right, as we move back to the game, great to catch up with a player who really is one of many of the Canadian players who contributed, and that's not to shortchange anybody from anywhere else, but great opportunity for us to visit with Patrice Bernier.
So after a couple chances for Syracuse to take the lead for the first time tonight, out of the break, we get some expert analysis from one of the Orange's all-time greats. Maybe a chance for that 3rd goal here now with Kalukian. On the right foot, took a deflection, flicked on, and it is the 3rd goal! Giorgio Kaczewski, the local kid, gets the go-ahead goal for Syracuse.
Kaczewski calmly slots a ball from Susky. Susky has really made his mark since he's come into the game. His energy, he slips a ball to Kalukian. Kalukian slides it across, takes a little bit of a deflection, but Kaczewski does an awesome job of getting his outside of his right onto it, redirecting it into the goal. A class goal at a critical time in the game.
Just his first goal of the season. The Liverpool, New York product, proudly wearing the captain's armband and kissing the crest. could see what it means to him and to the Syracuse team. 5 goals so far at SU Soccer Stadium with over 30 minutes left to be played.
We still got a long way to go. And I'll tell you what, this game is going to continue to be wide open. These teams don't back down. It's a typical ACC game. You know, great goal by Syracuse, but Pitt's an experienced team. They've been the target. They've had the target on their back before. We're going to see them come back. It always happens.
Dean, how does this change from a coaching standpoint? Because Syracuse do take the lead for the first time tonight. They got a quick equalizer after Pitt opened the scoring. If you're Coach McIntyre, what are you telling your guys right now?
Well, you got to keep playing. There's still 35 or 34 plus minutes left to go in the game. This game is far from over, and we saw that in the first half with them exchanging goals. And you know, Pitt's an experienced team. I think we're going to see end-to-end action right now. They got to keep playing. You can't sit back now. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal, because at any moment, and we've seen from the opportunities that presented themselves, you know, when they were each having a go at each other in the first half, there are going to be more opportunities. The quality in the final third is the difference. Can you finish your chances? There'll be more. They got to keep playing. One goal is not going to be enough.
Chevsky with the quality touch and winning it back strongly for Mateo Levesque. A Cruyff turn, opening up space. Thought about chipping it in behind, instead finds Susky. Oya Gunley threads the needle for Levesque once again, clipping it to the back post, and it's a delayed run from Edwards, who shoves over his man and commits the foul.
So I think as this game wears on, we will see Pittsburgh press to get themselves back in. This little push in the back results in a foul.
But not a yellow card, as most fouls tonight, 5 of the 7 called in the first half, did result in a booking. But there is just a little bit of swagger. There's a little bit more confidence with Syracuse when they go forward now. The one-touch passes are finding feet a little bit more often. It's just cleaner.
Well, and there are a lot of peaks and valleys in the game. And this is a time and point in the game where Syracuse is at one of their peaks. They've got to ride that emotion, see if they can transfer that into another opportunity, another goal, before Pitt tries to stop the momentum and create something of their own, which has kind of been the story in the first half, right? Each one answers the other.
Gilman's towering header cut away with Levesque. Now Oya Gunley once again. Lukin was making the run, was upset he didn't get it. Chance to settle things, and a second bite of the apple for Michael Susky on the near side. It's a bit static from the throw-in. Gunley will send it long and gets another chance.
So just looking at the way Pitt has set up themselves here for the second half, there don't seem to be a lot of changes. The go-to guy continues to be this man right here, Luis Samkow.
Samkow picking out Torre on the far side. One-on-one with Nate Edwards. Torre almost got away from him, and in the end it did. Kept in play for only a moment, and the referee waits to signal for a Pitt throw. The SU faithful groan in unison. Change at the back for Coach Vidovic.
Actually, I think that's Sullivan coming in. And maybe this will be, yeah, I think he's going to replace Torrey.
Sullivan was making a lot of overlapping runs on the far side channel in the opening 45, but Abdoulaye Torre, who started the scoring tonight, is helped to his feet by the athletic trainer.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the chess match that goes on. I mean, when you look at Coach McIntyre and Coach Vidovic, I mean, they come from a coaching tree. Coach Vidovic, who played for a guy by the name of Jay Martin at Ohio Wesleyan, the winningest coach in college today, still today. He's in like his 46th year. He's got over 700 wins. He assisted Walt Chisowitz before he took over the job at Wake. You know, Ian McIntyre played for the legendary Jim Lennox at Hartwick. These guys are, you know, part of a coaching tree, and the player or the coaches that I just named, who, you know, they were brought up with and learning the game, they're on the Mount Rushmore of, the best coaches in the country. So there's no surprise these guys are, chess masters. They know how to do things. They know how to make the adjustments that you need as the game goes on.
It is such a fitting night to have the alumni in town with two real pillars in the American collegiate game on the sideline on either side of midfield. How far the game has come in this country at this level and how bright the future looks for it. Sullivan freshly off the bench on the near side. Wants the 1-2 off the back heel, was poked away from him. And Kalukian keeps it in play. He's got a bit of confidence trying to drive out his man, using his body to shield the ball and winning the foul.
So as the clock ticks down, and still 30 minutes is a long time to be able to continue to play, but things will start to get a little testy. Pitt still holds a really high line at the back.
Carter might not have had much time as he thought, and that looks like it came off of Susky's arm.
So we talk about the coaching tree that both of these players, or both of these coaches have come from. Susky there with a handball.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, the Walt Chisowitz tree, he was a pioneer in coaching education. Not just a great coach at Wake Forest. Jim Lennox, the same thing. Jay Martin, great coach educators. Two different coaching trees, but with the same result. They've put coaches out into the game at all levels. Good players, good coaches, and we're the beneficiaries watching these two exciting teams play today.
Mateo Levesque helped to his feet sportingly by Luis Samkow. The trainer was on. Levesque did have a bit of a harsh challenge in the first half that he was on the wrong side of. And Lorenzo Baselli is set to come back into this one for Syracuse. The official stopped the clock and is telling Levesque to make his way to the bench despite the Frenchman's protests.
Come off, we'll keep it. Keep it. Bring to the go back on. Yes, straight away, straight away. Stay here and sprint it. Come on, come on. You're going to go right back in as soon as he goes. Doesn't matter, who cares? Let's go.
Get a chance to listen to Coach McIntyre.
Wait. Now.
Great
Lovely touch by Susky. Kalukian trying to cut it back with his left. It took a deflection. Cabral Carter was ready for it.
Good attack. Susky has definitely made his mark. He's putting in a good shift tonight. He changed the game, especially here in the second half with his energy.
The senior transfer from Boston College came off the bench with a couple minutes to go in the first half, started the second half. On this near channel, we'll have to track back now. Sullivan wants to go at Oyagunle. He is shrugged off the ball. Emphatic shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, and clean by the judgment of the officials. He's let them play tonight, that's for sure. Dangerous when it's that close to the box, though. Dangerous cross in two, cut back in front, and Smith with the heads-up grab.
Syracuse has to keep track of players in the box. There are players floating around at the back post. Sullivan is not necessarily free, but they've got to make sure that they keep track of players in the box. Gunley with a good tackle in the lead up. To use a football analogy, Olu Oyagunle is the type of player that, you talk about, you hear American football, they talk about a cornerback, a corner or a safety who you can put out on an island and not have to worry about, they can hold their own and not let people behind them. That's Olu. He's a guy who, he can match up with people and cancel them out.
Oyagunle started every postseason match for the Orange down the stretch last year. A real enforcer on this back line. Really played that role alongside Abdi Salim, who was then drafted by Orlando, the highest pick for Syracuse last year in the MLS Super Draft. So a proven method of defense, to say the least.
Right, and Booster Schoberg was in the mix at that point as well, who's still here but is injured. This is a very experienced Pitt team, though. I think you'll see as time goes on here, they will push players forward. They've already begun to do that. And they're going to press the issue here. They're not going to fade away.
Or pass out of the back. Susky trying to collect the first touch, and he will. D'Agostini, Kalukian settling, thought about the volley. Gonna go for the curler! Fantastic stop! Cabral Carter, an answered prayer for Pitt, somehow keeps it out of the back of the net.
Cabral Carter comes up with an outstanding save after Kalukian gets his foot through a clean shot, and the outstretched hands and timing of Cabral Carter kept this game at 3-2.
Well, he's played some poor passes out of the back tonight, but what a way to reassert yourself in between the sticks for the visitors. Corner for Syracuse. It's a short one, and it's dealt with quite easily. Referee instead may have seen a handball on that deflected shot.
He must have took a deflection on the way out. Syracuse will end up with another corner. Carter, you know, that's the kind of save that gives your team, you know, confidence and adrenaline to try and keep fighting and keep moving forward. And Pitt's going to have to build on that, because right now they're under the gun. If Syracuse gets another one here, that could really put them in a hole.
Levesque's cross was toward Josh Balluz. Instead, now with Edwards from Moya Gunlake, directing traffic from the back. Sliding challenge, doesn't get the ball. The cross instead played in. Conceded for another corner. The Panthers here backed into a corner.
They are under the gun. Syracuse has got all kinds of pressure, not letting this ball get cleared out, on keeping it alive. And there's a number of corners here that are really putting Pitt under pressure. They've got to be careful. Pitt.
8 in total. Look how many orange shirts are forward for it. Couple of spaces in the box. Toward Balluz again, but a little bit overhit. Agostini went down fighting for it. That's going to be a long shot of a call for the Brazilian, and he won't get it. Kalukian letting it bounce. That's a tough challenge. The referee has to stop it immediately. Kalukian went down holding his head, and any suspected head injury is an immediate stoppage.
Looks like there may have been a clash of heads there. Seems to be up and okay. Important free kick for Syracuse. Pitt again back on their heels a bit.
That is Michael Sullivan's second yellow card. Not much fanfare about it, but number 26 for Pitt, his night is done.
So this is where we go back to that first half when we talk about frivolous yellow cards. And now what I suspect is happening right now is he gave him a yellow card, and he's going to go back and review it because it turned into a red card. But my understanding is you can only review straight red cards, not double yellow cards. So I don't know. This is interesting.
You can't review it. Thank you.
So the referee cannot take a look at that because it wasn't a straight red card.
And I suspect,
so Pitt is down to 10.
I suspect what happened here, and this is all, you know, this is what happens when the video review.
There's another yellow card as well. Filip Mirkovic is pleading his case, but from our understanding of the rules, it should be 11 versus 10 from now on.
So he adjusted who the card went to. So let me back up and restate what I was going to say. What happens oftentimes is the referee is aware of who has the yellow cards. And so, you know, I suspect that, you know, he forgot or did not remember that you know, Sullivan had already had a previous yellow card, and so because you can't review it, you know, he shouldn't be able to review it. 2 yellows you cannot review. A straight red is the only one you can review. But as a result, knowing that he's going to change the game by ejecting a player, which he don't think was his intention, he changed who he gave the card to. So it wasn't Sullivan's second one. Is that correct? Is that, you know, that's anybody's guess. I suspect that's what happened.
Edwards got the cross away. It went under the foot of D'Agostini. But Syracuse now with the man advantage. So Dean, if you're Coach Vinovich, what do you do? How do you adjust tactically to having one less player out on the field?
Well, they've got to be safe at the back, first of all, so they don't give up another goal. And then they're going to have to find ways to, on the break, get people forward and try and get themselves back in this. But Syracuse would be wise to pressure and keep everybody under pressure so that they cannot pick their head up and serve balls forward, so there isn't any threat in their own half of the field.
Carter went for that short pass again. Mercado able to carve out a little bit of green grass for himself, keeping possession. Looked like a shove, and it's an easy call against Oluwayagunle. Once you extend both of your arms past the elbow, you don't really leave the referee much choice.
Right.
But a chance now for Pitt to settle things a little bit after a frantic series of play that saw Michael Sullivan's night end prematurely.
Well, they did weather the storm that they found themselves in with that series of corner kicks and opportunities at goal that Syracuse had, but they are, you know, now playing a man down, and with that comes the challenge of trying to get people forward. This man's going to have a lot to do with it.
May have come off the arm of Sam Cal, but the referee lets play continue with Mirkovic. Through ball on the near side, had to be cut away by Susky. Michael Susky has been at the receiving end of quite a lot of instruction from his head coach, Ian McIntyre.
Well, I think he's been rewarded with more playing time as he's played well, added energy, and has earned himself the right to stay on the field.
And that is really Coach McIntyre's game to a T. Constant instruction, always tweaking and changing and trying to stay fluid, searching for a breakthrough. Syracuse did find it with Giorgio Kaczewski, but they're on the defensive front now. Mercado thought about the square pass, instead sends it back for Gilman.
See, I think this is where, you know, with an advantage, Syracuse can push up and match up with these people, still have an extra guy at the back, and really make things difficult for Pitt.
Mirkovic wanted to make space for the shot, turns it back with Mercado. To the far side now. Pitt switching the point of attack slowly but surely. Trying to drag the orange defense every which way.
Syracuse really needs to reel people in here and get a little tighter on the. With a man advantage, you shouldn't be able to just interpass like this. It's a good tackle by Agunle.
Edwards getting forward on the near side, far side rather. It's D'Agostini on the near side. Has to hold it up so that more orange shirts can join him. D'Agostini tried to just flick it behind the defender. And the Brazilian, known for his creativity, maybe should have looked for the simple option there.
Behind the ball! Felipe, you got a guy out!
D'Agostini has come off the bench in every contest this season for Syracuse, as the Syracuse athletic trainer will look to come on and give some attention to, here's Josh Balluz. It is the Villanova transfer down on one knee. And what a loss that would be for the Orange.
So this break in the action here, right at about the 20-minute mark left to play in the game. Really gives Pitt a chance to kind of regroup and figure out how they want to attack the final stages of this game. And Syracuse is trying to figure out, should they be making adjustments at this point? If Balluz has got to come out, you know, what presently Baselli and Singleman are waiting to come in, that may change if Balluz has to come off.
Coach Vidovich issuing some instructions as well to his 10 players out on the pitch. What do you got to see from the Panthers in the next 20 minutes or so?
Well, I'll tell you what they just did in the last minute of play before the stoppage here, they were able to connect passes, they were able to interpass, they were able to keep the ball. If you're up a man, that shouldn't be that easy to do. And so I think Syracuse has really got to reel in those players and make it hard. It really should be Syracuse that's doing that. And so, you know, if you're Pittsburgh, you know, you've got to get the ball in your opponent's half of the field, and you've got to try and find overloads as hard as that's going to be, even though you're down a man, but getting the ball out wide and trying to find overloads and get in behind the Syracuse defense. But they're going to press and push. They're not going to go down whether you lose 3-2 or 4-2 or 5-2. There's 3 points on the line in the ACC, which are up for grabs here.
What a confidence booster this would be for Syracuse before they travel to face number 11 Duke next time out. It's a ranked bout for Pitt on deck as well with number 19 Denver. As Eben McIntyre checks in for Pitt, Pablo Pedregosa for Syracuse. Haven't said his name yet tonight.
Head away! Midfield tight! Pass! Open up, back three and play!
Coach McIntyre wanting the back three for Syracuse to open up a little bit. Just to knock it around, they have the extra man. That's a poor pass from the back three, though. They'll track back. Edwards in pursuit. Slowed the attack down as well as he could. Thorson going over, referee points to the ball.
So Syracuse has got to do just what they're doing. They got to give the ball in the other team's half of the field.
Well-timed ball through, ripples the side netting. Some venom in that from Nicholas Kalukian.
Good shot, but even so, ball gets pushed through. Kalukian runs onto it. Not the greatest of angles, but we saw what he did at Wake Forest and the goal that he scored there, and probably a lesser angle than that one. He does have the ability to put it on target, but in that particular moment, it might be best to keep the ball and keep it in their half of the field. Get out of your own half of the field, establish the shape of your team, and now they keep it for a while. And that's the way you take time off the clock. That's the way that you kill the game, for lack of a better way to put it.
A couple more substitutions for Syracuse.
Susky and D'Agostino just came off. They put in a great shift. I think they were both difference makers in this game, particularly at the beginning of the second half. Their energy, their ability to create opportunities.
That was something that Coach McIntyre told us earlier in the year when he had to go out and find replacements for some of the key players he lost. One that he mentioned was Kirk Kalov, who was his #1 sub last year off the bench, a real game changer now with Rutgers, and he may have found two excellent additions with Susky and D'Agostini. They both bring just so much intelligence to the way Syracuse plays.
And the energy that they brought was impactful. It changed the game. And, we talk about being able to make substitutions, like-for-like substitutions. You put a defender comes off, you put a defender on. The team stays, the look of the team stays the same, but a guy like D'Agostini is a creator. He plays with a little bit more flair. He's a little different than some of the other players, so it completely changes the look of the team.
Chevsky tried to pick out Kalukian with the outside of the foot, had 4 defenders to beat.
having the ability to put players on that give you another dimension is an advantage, and Syracuse has that luxury.
Speaking of dimensions, don't want to make assumptions rather, but there seems to be a bit of a hesitation for Syracuse to play a pass with the left foot, except for Mateo Levesque, the natural left footer. Kalukian will use his right. We'll try and cut onto it as well. Kalukian going over, but winning a corner.
Kalukian, ever the worker up top, provides energy, work rate. Not afraid to run at players, creates problems. The result here being a corner, which in addition to being a good attacking opportunity, it's going to take time off the clock.
Nine corners for Syracuse. Another one sent in and another one met with the head over the frame by quite a margin.
The head of Lorenzo Baselli.
Just 5'11" and 3 headed goals, 2 of which came in the season opener against Providence. Sam Cowell nearly picking out a pass. Syracuse almost caught out on the break. They'll slow it down now with Levesque.
Pitt, though, finding an opportunity on the break. You know, getting right up against the back line of Syracuse, creating a 2-on-2, 2-on-3. But that's the way they're going to have to gamble to try and get themselves through and get themselves an equalizer. Syracuse has got to be really good. Syracuse has to be really good in transition to defense. The ball turns over, they've got to step up, pressure the ball, take away options, get the ball back, not give Pitt players the opportunity to look up and serve a ball into the back of their team, because that's where the chances are going to come from.
Gabriel McKenna was second to it, taking down Filip Mirkovic. But noticing as Syracuse goes forward, Nicholas Kalukian is making those darting runs, those diagonal runs. Do you as a coach tell him to drop back a little bit and facilitate play now that you have the number? You don't need him running in behind like that. You might have to now, though. Lorenzo Baselli has a break. Syracuse could have numbers. Baselli on his right. Couldn't wrap his foot around it and knows that he should have done better. Lovely feint.
Good ball played through to Baselli. Baselli, right-footed player, really wants his right. Chooses the option to try and curl it inside the post, but perhaps, you know, playing it with his left would have been a better option.
Well, rather than dropping Baselli and Kalukian back despite the numerical advantage, they're still going in behind, making those darting runs.
Right. What you really want is the front players of your team to put the back half of Pitt's team under pressure. What happens is if you drop off, their players can pick their head up and serve balls into the back of your team, which is what you want to try and prevent. You want the ball, you want them under pressure. You don't want the ball in your half of the field. You don't want your defender or your defenders or back line being challenged. Long direct balls play players out of the game like that. Okay, and all of a sudden, you know, long direct balls like this play players out of the game. That's a 1-versus-1 if that Pitt player should happen to win that. You know, you're up a man. You don't ever want it to be 1-versus-1, let alone at the back of your team. So the idea is if you can put some pressure on the back half of the Pitt team, that prevents them from getting balls to the front half of their team.
Mirkovic to swing it in, had 4 assists last time out for the Panthers. Hasn't seen much chance to foray possession in the attacking third tonight. That changes now from the corner flag. Sent in by Mirkovic. Good header to the top of the key. Volley not hit well and out of play.
Good opportunity for Pitt. That's, you know, similar situation where they can, you know, capitalize in terms of, you know, the numerical advantage that Syracuse has is watered down when you get in a corner kick or set piece situation like that. Those are the type of opportunities they've got to take advantage of.
Clock strikes 13. Smith strikes it forward. Vaselli didn't win it. Kalukian instead winning a throw-in. As Josh Balluz is ready to get back into this one. Pablo Pedrego's abbreviated substitute appearance comes to a close. So what is his role now in the next 12.5 minutes for this team?
We'll see if there are any sort of formation changes here with Balluz coming back in. But having his presence on the field is definitely an advantage.
Coach McIntyre was asking the referee to stop play. Nicholas Kalukian is in a heap by the paint on the far side. Slowly on his feet now. Not one to shy away from a 50-50 ball. Nicholas Kalukian, the former Big Ten All-Freshman team selection who led his team with 9 points and 4 goals for the University of Michigan.
Kalukian has logged a lot of miles tonight. Really hard worker on both sides of the ball. You know, you don't think traditionally of a forward or a target player that, like him, you don't think of them. You don't think of him in terms of a defensive player, but he does provide that pressure up top and works hard to do it.
A little over 12 minutes to go in what has been a wild contest tonight. You wouldn't expect anything less from ACC soccer. Syracuse took the lead in the second half through Giorgio Kuchevsky after a 4-goal opening frame. Not long after, Pitt reduced to 10 men. 12 fouls split evenly down the middle. It has just been an enthralling contest for every minute we've seen so far.
So D'Agostini back in for Kalukian.
D'Agostini, the graduate transfer from Oral Roberts. Somebody who Coach McIntyre has spoke highly of in terms of his foot skills, his ability to dance with the ball. Venedo of Porto Alegre in Brazil. Levesque tried to chest it. Pocket pick by Mercado, who goes down. Surely that has to be at least a yellow card. The referee's had to think about it, and it will be yellow.
So here's a good opportunity for Pitt. And again, Pitt is an experienced team, dangerous.
That's about the clearest one of the bunch, Dean.
Yeah, that's a foul, and no doubt about that. I'm not sure that was needed, to be honest.
Gavin Wigg was right there. Did he have to do that?
You know, in a perfect world, no. But you know, you got to be close enough to close down any kind of shot so that he can't get a shot off. And perhaps he thought that that wasn't going to happen, but they did have numbers to be able to avoid a foul like that.
Set piece opportunity for Pitt. Philip Mirkovic is standing over it. He's yet to open his account.
So you got Mayafu, he's got a good left peg.
Looks like it will be Mateo Mayafu. No, Mirkovic instead skying it into the students.
He takes a deflection. They'll get a corner out of this.
5 in the wall for Jason Smith. And Gavin Wigg got his head to it.
It's a big wall, some big guys in that wall. You got to be over the wall, under the bar is difficult from that distance.
Headed away once again by Wigg. The 6'3" frame from the center back.
Pitt doing a really good job of moving the ball. Down a man, they're you know, speed of play, keeping the ball moving, not letting Orange players get close to them so that they can minimize the fact that they're playing down a man.
Pitt down a man, Syracuse up to 5 yellow cards, tying the highest of the season thus far. And still plenty of time left to be played at SU Soccer Stadium. Gunling. Mirkovic got in the way. Chance for the Panthers to step up. It's a bouncing ball. Smith didn't catch it cleanly. It's a dangerous back pass and a dangerous chance too that's denied by the offside flag against Albert Thorson.
Smith clears a ball, immediately put back into the back line of Syracuse. Thorson not quite recovered from pressuring the goalkeeper and still in an offside position, gets whistled for the foul or the offsides call.
Thorson, the freshman from Norway, notched his second assist of the season tonight, just 5 minutes into this one, as we are into single-digit minutes on the scoreboard here in Central New York. A bit of afters as well on the ball to play. Lorenzo Baselli keen to just get things going again. That's probably smart considering how many yellow cards have been handed out already.
Yep.
Baselli, one of the 5 orange players already in the referee's book.
So Syracuse will be looking to take the air out of the game every opportunity they get. Pitt will be looking to play with more and more urgency.
Behind the goal, midfield. Put a bit of pressure. Midfield, start to drop, mate.
Didn't look like there was much in that from Blues, but the referee sounds the whistle.
So the fouls, they really got to try, Syracuse in trying to kill this game, got to try not to foul as hard as that is sometimes, only because their advantage is in that they have an extra man. That's minimized when, you know, they create a foul and now all of a sudden they can put the ball down and everybody's got to back up and you can serve a ball into their box. I mean, defend from your feet.
Sam Cow off the chest. Sliding challenge going in from Oyegunle. He says he got the ball. Pitt is up in arms for a booking. It will be a yellow card. And that should be his second, no?
No, I believe that is his first.
It is his first yellow card.
Boy.
Oh. It was a yellow card in the first half that was awarded to Nate Edwards. It was originally for Oyegunle and then changed to Edwards. So that is his first, but oh man, is there a case for serious foul play there? Studs showing, the ankle seeming to just bend a little bit.
Well, I don't, again, if my understanding of the rule is correct, I mean, clearly this is a foul.
He's got the ball first, but it's the follow-through.
The follow.
Locking the knee. And Dean, you mentioned the rule. If it's not awarded as a red card on the field, it can't be reviewed. We saw that case play out in the first half.
Right. And I don't believe this is reviewable.
Come on, let's finish the game. Let's get it into our front two. Hold the ball up, Baselli. Let's go.
Chance to listen to Coach McIntyre and tells Lorenzo Baselli to hold the ball up.
Right.
Simple
get the ball forward with an extra player, get the ball forward, get it in the opponent's half of the field and keep it. That's the best way to take time off the clock.
Some of the Panthers still discussing with the head official tonight, Carl Kummer, about upgrading that yellow card. Studs exposed, that's the case from Mercado, but even if he has a case, within the rules, it can't be reviewed to be upgraded.
Well, and now the situation now is, you know, Pitt is able to push players up against the last line of defense of Syracuse. They can clip a ball in the box, and when you get balls in the box, you know, deflections happen. You can't clear your lines, perhaps, and all of a sudden, anything can happen.
Mirkovic.
Strong header by Oyegunle.
Trying to flick it up towards Pacelli. Instead, Edwards now. Pacelli rather with the ball. Kaczewski.
Kaczewski doing a good job of, that was a difference maker. The run that he just made around to be able to allow them to stretch the game through this side and wide. Now they keep it in the opponent's half of the field. Pitt still holding a high line, making them play in a smaller area.
Creative pass through. Maybe not the right decision there.
Well, you know, Pitt holds such a high line, the space is in behind that back four of Pitt.
Move your feet, Mateo.
No foul from Levesque.
Pitt players are so good in terms of being on the ball under pressure. You know, they're able to keep the ball. We saw it in the first half when it was even numbers, they were good with it. Even though they, you know, Syracuse did apply good pressure on them. It wasn't like they weren't putting the pressure on them. It's just Pitt can operate in that kind of environment.
Seven minutes even to go. Buckle up.
It's been a good game. Really been a good game. There's been a lot of opportunities on both sides.
Speculative at best from D'Agostini. We mentioned his toolbox a little bit earlier. There's a nice skill move as well from Mercado, the Colombian.
I'm impressed with Pitt's composure. I mean, they are down, they are on the road, they're down a man, they're down on the scoreboard. They're still able to, you know, look for ways to operate and find their way forward to, you know, get themselves free kicks, to get themselves corner kicks, to get themselves opportunities at goal, even though they're down a man. Speaks to the experience and seasoning of the players that they have.
That is a brilliant sliding challenge as well by Rafael Sealy to win that corner kick.
Syracuse will need to be good defending these.
Short delivery, header went down for it, cross back in. It's gone in the back of the net. The referee has waved it off for offsides. It is chalked off. Evan McIntyre can't believe it.
Corner's taken, bounces off of two players.
No, it went out of play rather.
I think it may have gone over the end line, might have been the call. I'm not sure.
It wouldn't have been offsides, that's on me. It definitely looks like it could have gone out of play.
Yeah, so it's a goal kick.
I saw the flag go up. I was confused at the call because it didn't really be offsides on a corner kick.
Well, it may have been to indicate that the ball was over the end line, the flag. Either way, great opportunity for Pitt. You know, again, speaks to their ability to you know, create opportunities even though they're down a man. Still 5:30 to go in this. Syracuse is going to have to be clean. Pitt coaching staff not happy about the call.
Referee's gone to the back pocket, and it is a red card. It's a red card for one of the assistants for Pitt. So after Jay Vidovich lost one of his players, he's lost one of his staff members as well.
So referee Coomer does not like what he hears coming out of. Clearly the Wake staff is upset over what transpired in the play before. Difficult, we don't know what was said, but you know, I think we had kind of called this earlier on to say, look, this is going to get contentious as we get down 3 points, 3 ACC points on the line. Neither team is going to back down, and that makes the guy in the middle's job hard.
It's all getting a bit frantic now. Another big shoulder from Moya Gunley.
Gunley, good pressure.
So 5 minutes to play. If you're Coach McIntyre, surely you're begging for Syracuse just to simmer the tempo down a little bit and settle things and play to feet. But for Coach Vidovich, there's a chance for a momentum swing here for Pitt, despite
I mean,
a coach
they are
making their way to the locker room.
They're playing with some desperation. They're playing with some urgency. Pitt is, and you know, Syracuse needs the ball. They need the ball and they need to keep it.
The whistle does sound. Kalukian was a bit upset that he wasn't allowed to continue the attack. Coach McIntyre waves his emotions aside.
And this will take time off the clock, any stoppage in play in terms of like the fouling. But here's where it's important to keep it. And you can see Pitt really holding the high line at the back. He's going to make them play in a tight area. If they're going to keep it, they're going to have to do it in this tight area that they're trying to flood with players.
Lukian lets it run. Just trying to bleed every second that they can off the clock, Syracuse. Lukian will try and hold it up as well. He's lost out. And there may have been some extracurriculars. It's another red card. Rafael Sealy is dismissed after Kalukian was left in a heap. It's all getting a bit out of hand now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you know, in a game like this, cooler heads have to prevail. If you're Pitt, the last thing you need is a second player to leave the field. And there's justification there for that.
And Rafael Sealy has lost the plot in the closing stages.
Not sure. You know, when you look at this from a coach's standpoint, you know, you look at the situation, the score, the time on the clock. You know, cooler heads have to prevail in a situation like that. It wasn't like that was a situation where, you know, they were in trouble, you know, in terms of Pitt being in trouble for that. There was no need for that. But listen, live and learn. It's ACC soccer. From this point, it's very contentious at the end of these games. Pitt's fighting, clawing, trying to do everything they can to compete to stay in this, as is Syracuse.
In the 87th minute, he's therefore ejected from the game.
So Michael Sullivan was in the tent with one of his assistant coaches watching on his phone what was going down. He likely heard the roar from the Syracuse crowd, and soon Rafael Sealy will join them in that tent. Pitt down to 9. Coach Vidovich gobsmacked. And that may be the curtain call for the Panthers on the road tonight.
Well, with 3 minutes left to play, Syracuse has to finish it out. You know, I said this before, Pitt's seasoned group, and it ain't over till it's over.
They only need one goal, one chance, one fortunate bounce of the ball to change the fate of this one. 3 minutes to do it. The Agostini miles offside and has to track back quickly. Dean, how many games have you seen 2 players be dismissed from, especially late like this?
Well, I've seen it happen before, but not like this. You know, usually that happens when there's, you know, a fight or a, you know, a physical confrontation. But in a situation like this, I mean, in the first half we were treated to end-to-end action. The game changed, you know, after the first ejection, and at this point, you know, it is, for all intents and purposes, going to be very difficult for Pitt.
Edwards wide open in the box, the pass can find him. Instead, it finds the shin of a Panthers defender and the side netting as well. Kalukian had the wide open man, and Mathis Lefebvre just about got it away.
Well, I will say this, both of these teams have fought very hard, competed, and typical of what you see in ACC soccer. you know, they're fighting for 3 points, and even if it's your home game, you got to work for it. And Syracuse certainly had to do that tonight.
The work isn't done. There's time for Pitt to get forward at least one more time.
Get behind the ball. Don't foul. Don't foul.
Sam Cowell. No foul from Oya Gunley.
Do the ball, George. Head away.
Lefebvre. Pass under hit. In the middle, and Mirkovic will be second to it. And Kalukian is in a foot race. Nicholas Kalukian with the head. The goalie's off his line. Empty net for Nicholas Kalukian. Off the post and doesn't go in. Oh my goodness.
It could have ended the game, but there'll be a minute and 15 seconds more.
Nicholas Kalukian has worked so hard this season, only has one goal to show for it. Denied by the woodwork for a second.
Syracuse has got to be clean here and make sure they clear everything out. Don't find themselves in any situation where they're letting players in behind them.
The Orange trying to batten down the hatches. 37 seconds left, and now acres of space forward. Numbers on opportunity. D'Agostini played it behind Kalukian, and that needs to be a fourth goal for Syracuse if really it's any other scenario besides 20 seconds left and 2 men up.
Well, at the end of the day, they just need to run it into the corner and run out the time.
And that's exactly what Nate Edwards will do. The crowd on their feet. The clock winds down, and that's it. Syracuse
came into the game. Top priority was to get 3 points. They got it at the expense of Pitt, who fought hard but came up short.